elderflower liqueur, which the most mainstream brand name is St. Germain's, is sometimes referred to as the bartender's ketchup because it's a simple ingredient that can add pop to any cocktail. Just a quarter ounce goes a long way in a drink. It adds sweetness and a slightly floral, musky note to your Martinez or your margarita, maybe even your Manhattan, though I've not tried that. There's also, of course, bitters, most commonly the Angostura bitters, but Peychaud's and orange bitters are also often used. So if elderflower liqueur is the ketchup of the mixologist, bitters are the salt. They add their own flavor, but they also dial up the flavor of everything else in the drink. So to make this parallel here, in filmmaking, I've always felt that nudity and violence are the ketchup and the salt. You don't need them, but they're a great enhancement to an already good movie. Sprinkle a titty here, a well-toned buttock there, and you've got yourself a delicious French fry of a film. Hey, maybe even douse that thing with a dollop of exploding alien brains, and you can really dial up the flavor a notch. Bam. Of course, as tasty as ketchup and salt are, sorry, I gotta repeat that. Of course, as tasty as ketchup and salt are as a part of a dish, they are not themselves a delicious meal. Elderflower liqueur and bitters also not that good as a drink on its own, but mixed with real ingredients, yes, please. 1990s tentpole thrillers really loved a violent monster. Anaconda, Godzilla, Tremors, Lake Placid. The 1990s also loved themselves some TNA in their thrillers like Basic Instinct, Sliver, Fatal Attraction, Wild Things. Americans love salt and Americans love ketchup, but why keep them separated? French fries need both, right? So let's put some titties on an H.R. Geiger alien that likes to rip humans in half. We just created the 1995 action horror sci-fi film Species. Goddamn delicious, if you ask me. Is there nutritional value here? Absolutely not. Does this French fry have a crisp skin and soft, steamy insides? Also, no. It's kind of soft and room temperature, but it's still kind of yummy with a shit ton of salt and ketchup thrown on. Totally. Hi, Cecil.
Hi, Jeffrey.
What's your favorite condiment?
What's my favorite condiment?
I think I've asked this before, but I'm going to ask it again. Just
do pickles count as a condiment?
I think so. I mean,
it's
like
more of a crudité. It's more of like a side piece.
Relish is pickles, basically.
Yeah, relish is the I think that's I thought about that, but I never put relish on anything. You know what? No, here's my thing. Favorite condiment? Sauerkraut.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like if I can get a hot dog with sauerkraut, I'm happy. If I can get a hot dog with just mustard, it's just okay.
Yeah.
But if I get a hot dog with mustard and sauerkraut, I'm over the moon.
Yeah. I'm going to be honest and be kind of pretentious here and just tell you I've really grown to love mayonnaise and French fries.
Mayonnaise is great.
Mayonnaise and
like,
fries.
Who doesn't love
awesome.
A pomme frite?
No, of course.
You know, like with like some like different kinds of mayonnaises. Yeah, I love it.
And if you can make your own mayonnaise at home, which is super easy to do, you just need an immersion blender and a ball jar.
Yeah.
The ingredients are stuff you probably already have, and it's way better than store-bought. And dip a French fry in that, motherfucker, it is on.
Yeah. I mean, there's a distant second would be ranch. I do love some actual buttermilk ranch dressing.
Oh yeah. I don't know why I forgot about that.
Because you're anti-American, Jeffrey.
That's right. Did you do the thing? I did this all the time in high school. If it was like pizza day at the cafeteria, public school.
Oh yeah.
Dipping your ranch on
pizza.
Your crusts. Yeah.
Oh,
I just put ranch on the whole fucking thing.
Oh no. For me, it's like pizza is sacrosanct until the crust, and then it's anything fucking goes.
Yeah.
Butter, ranch, barbecue. Like I'll dip it in more cheese. You know, sometimes I'll do like a melted butter and then dip it in the butter and then just roll it in Parmesan.
Sounds so good, so healthy. It's so
yummy.
Healthy. True crudité. It's that.
Bon appetit.
Wow, I watched Species last night, as I assume you did too.
Is your body still recovering? Because mine is. I feel tired today after watching this movie.
I remembered this from Anaconda, which is another fantastic 90s, just an absolute shitstorm of a script and a movie. It's so
My
silly.
God.
Um, it even has the wedged in one-liner at the end too, like not to jump all the way to the end, but they clearly were like, you know what was great was Aliens and Basic Instinct.
Yeah.
What if we can get this peanut butter in your chocolate or vice versa? And they have Michael Madsen at the end going, "Let go, you motherfucker," and then blowing the alien away. And I'm like, that, you guys, I really want to work on one-liners. I
Like,
don't have any immediately in mind, but like we
well,
got to
I
do
was like,
something better.
if we're talking about the last line of this film first, which I think is a delightful way to start this podcast, I was like, "Let go, you mother," because she's
That's
a mother.
it. Yeah.
And that's one thing that I love that they did a lot in the 80s, is like, "Oh, you piece of shit," you know, like
yeah.
they couldn't get away with saying the curse word because it was like the Reagan 80s and shit. So they would just say like, "You mother," and then an explosion would happen. But I was like, "You motherfucker. Wait, isn't she we just watched her give birth to a child that eats rats. Like, she's the mother." Huh?
I think the Occam's razor of this is that it was just a lazy one-liner. Like they just needed a tough guy.
Yeah.
I think if you wanted to say that they put thought into this line, you would say that she is a mother and a fucker. Because she is both.
She's a mother, and she fucked up the good portion of LA. And fucked a good portion of LA. Or she tried to.
Yeah.
She really tried.
Well, let's go back to the beginning.
Begin at the beginning.
As delighted as I would be to be like, that's the end of the movie. Let's rate this film.
Okay, there we go. Moving on.
I want to say this. I didn't hate this movie. I liked it. I think it's too long. There are parts that really drag in it. I think it fits in the realm to me of like really campy. I think it's unintentionally bad at times.
Yes.
And so that brought out a lot of giggles. And
I think, as we've learned on this show, is that camp is the unexpected byproduct of a monolithic culture trying to make culture for itself, and then a marginalized culture takes in that culture and goes, "You know, you just made this gay as fuck, right?"
Yeah.
So you all think that you're putting a supermodel nude doing or wearing a wedding dress walking down Santa Monica Boulevard, and you think this shit is straight as, you know, Ross Perot. But in fact, this shit is as gay as Isaac Mizrahi.
It absolutely is. I had that exact thought, not with those words. I didn't even think to invoke Isaac Mizrahi into this.
Because this is the era. Like, as
yeah.
soon as Natasha Henstridge walks on the screen, I was like, Naomi, Christy, like Cindy. Like, this is the era of the supermodel. This is the era of Isaac Mizrahi's Unzipped came out. I actually did a little bit of my tangential research, because I don't believe in actually researching things for a podcast, because it's a fucking podcast. But I like to do what I call tangential research, which is finding other movies or other flavors similar to that. And so I watched Robert Altman's Pret-a-Porter.
Oh, sure.
Which is like, he's one of my favorite filmmakers. It's like Gosford Park is like my comfort sweater of a movie. Like, I could have seen that movie like 200 times because there's nothing bad about it at all, ever. But like, this is the era of supermodel. Like, you got to have faith. This is like fucking Naomi Campbell wearing, you know, oversized. Oh my God. When Natasha puts on that like oversized men's jacket and like skinny black leggings, I was like, you better work, bitch. So I was like, that is fucking 90s fashion happening in front of you right now.
Yeah.
But it's so straight, it's actually gay.
100% agree. When she's walking down Santa Monica Boulevard in that wedding dress, I was like, okay,
with the
I
black
get it now.
With the black fanny pack and the gold accessories, I was like, bitch, you are like on your way to
a volleyball game. Yeah.
To a volleyball game? Really? You thought volleyball? Like just, you know, like a picnic in the park? I was thinking you're going to like a Key West, you know, pool party.
Yeah, totally.
You're the only cis woman at the Fire Island party, but you're like, fuck, these homosexuals invited me. I gotta go, and I gotta wear something crazy because I know there's gonna be drag queens there, so I gotta up my look. You know what? I'm the most beautiful woman here. I'm going to put on a wedding dress. Fuck it.
Yeah. Well, we open this movie with space credits, and we see the giant
space credits.
Space credits, and then we have the giant satellite dish scanning the skies and the stars, and this is confusingly like all they really say is U.S. government lab, but it's also SETI, search for extraterrestrial intelligence, which I didn't think SETI had really like a military wing to it. I was confused by that.
But
maybe it does.
SETI,
I don't know.
Like SETI had, if you follow, like they literally, there's so many threads and balls dropped in this film. But I was like, this, like Ben Kingsley and SETI can literally move mountains inside the United. Like, what is their level of clearance?
Yeah.
Like they're stopping every Amtrak train going into and out of Los Angeles. What the fuck? And trying to keep it on the down low. I was like, what the fuck is happening here? Yeah, who has this cover? Who has this clearance?
Yeah, because if you had like a badge that said Defense Department, if you had a badge that said FBI,
Homeland Security,
yeah, all of these things I can see wherein people are like, sure. But if you have a badge that says NASA, you're like, yeah, no, absolutely, you cannot stop our train.
Excuse me, I need to look through your luggage. I'm from NASA, and you're like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah,
you're a scammer.
So we've got young Michelle Williams in this movie.
Fucking Michelle Williams.
What a surprise.
Oh my God. So many. I was like, it's like so gorgeous. She looks exactly the same. Like she is amazing. This opening sequence. You know what, Jeffrey? If I ever see a blonde girl in a cage again, it will be too fucking soon.
Yeah.
Like, stop putting blonde girls in bubbles, y'all.
Don't do it.
Just stop. Just stop.
Unless it's part of your nightclub act, which we'll get to.
Oh my God, yes.
Okay, so Michelle Williams is young Syl. That is our alien main character. And she is trapped in this observation tank, and Ben Kingsley is there watching it. I want to note that Ben Kingsley runs a secret institute with a superpowered child, is bald, and is named Xavier. And I'm just thinking, we've got some Marvel Comics readers writing the script here.
I didn't even think about that. Oh my God, he is like Dark Professor X.
I was just imagining the alt universe wherein in the X-Men films that came out in the late 90s and early aughts, if we had done Ben Kingsley instead of Patrick Stewart.
Ian or Patrick. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's watching it, and then they go, men in hazmat suits go to fill the tank. They're going to gas this girl. They're going to kill her. And Ben Kingsley, Xavier, is crying and mouthing, "I'm so sorry."
Is he though?
Sorry. No.
Is he? Or is he just looking very steely into the distance and counting the zeros on his paycheck? He's like 1, 2, 3, 4.
He's like, I'm so sorry
because
I didn't get the 4-bedroom. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, you're like, maybe a 3-car garage.
Yeah,
keep it going. Sorry. 4 zeros. Can we get to 5 zeros?
So she's finally like, fuck this shit, and she just punches her way through the bulletproof glass and then out the fucking door.
Love it.
And we've got a full-on chase sequence with jeeps and spotlights and flares and helicopters. And she manages to escape whatever fucking SETI army this is and gets on board a freight train.
She hops a train.
She does. It's true American fashion. Just hop in the freight train.
And the first thing she does, she kills a hobo.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, that hobo was
terrifying.
Crazy. Yeah.
Like, also, like, what hobo has gold teeth is what I'm asking you. Like, this hobo had grills.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, wow, that's very expensive, sir. And also terrible for your teeth.
Just also like, what hobo is immediately like, I'm going to jump this person. I know, right? It was very weird.
But that's okay, because she's going to break his spine.
Yeah. She chucks him against the wall, steals his bindle or whatever, takes his denim jacket.
Bindle staff.
Yeah. And has like I don't know if she stole this from him, but she has a portable TV, which I loved, of like 90s throwback tech.
No, she gets the portable TV from when she steals the businessman's duffel bag in
that's right.
in wherever Utah, in
okay.
Monument Valley or wherever the fuck she is going through,
Okay, yeah. So she's got a little portable TV. She manages to hop onto an Amtrak.
Yep.
And she steals a bunch of food and a bunch of money from the
pudding. Yeah.
Yep. She breaks into the till from the dining car and steals a bunch of cash.
Like, she steals like $4 though.
Yeah, and then has hundreds of dollars throughout the rest of this.
Now, until this moment, like, young Sil has not really spoken. No. So there's this like anticipation of like, okay, we know she's a fucking alien, right? And we know she's like 11 from, Stranger Things. She's completely born in a test tube. She's exactly 9 days old or something. She punched a hole in the wall, and now she's headed to the big bad city, just like Johnny Depp in that Tom Petty out song. But here's the thing, like, the subtleties of communication and society are somehow like hard print downloaded inside her DNA. So things like lying, duplicity, money, like just social constructs, she seems to just get right off the bat. Or she can learn them in like 20 seconds. Like during the first part of this, I was comparing Michelle Williams very much with Lilu Multipass with Mia Jovovich in Fifth Element, which is a similar kind of thing of like this perfect quote, perfect entity in a very Hollywood, we've just picked the most gorgeous white woman we could possibly find as the paramount of beauty.
Yeah.
And then we have to like teach her the ways of humanity, and she has to figure out humanity's bad, but then she has to refigure out humanity's good only when like Bruce Willis steps in, is like, I'm going to show you how good we are by like, giving you a big old kiss. But like, I feel in that Fifth Element arc, it was much more like incremental learning. Like she was like, okay, first I have to understand what food is.
Yeah.
When she's like, chicken. Yes, chicken. Great. Let's start with the basics.
Yeah.
Young Sil kind of just gets it all off the bat. Like literally one Amtrak train from Utah to LA, and she's like applying for Yale next semester.
Right. So it is set up that this alien species like learns and grows quickly,
exponentially faster than us.
Although it is hilarious that this girl has been like 12 years old for who knows how long, and then has to go into incubation period to become instant hot adult lady.
Right. Yes.
And I don't know. Yeah, I was very curious about the Fifth Element was a thing that I thought about too. The idea of this alien woman having to understand humans.
Mm-hmm.
And it also feels very related to Aliens, Newt from Aliens.
For sure.
Yeah. Like the mute girl who is, trying to make her way. And there's this fascination kind of in this like 70s, 80s, 90s feminism, especially when men get a hold of it in movies, of thinking about, the most feminist way I can depict women is to make them strong female lead. If I can make them a fucking badass, like nothing's more empowering to a woman than to have all of the traits of a man in terms of violence and aggression. And so I find that really fascinating that that's kind of the way in which we develop a lot of these female characters of like, if you just became an action star, that's what women really want.
That's it. And if you take your bra off every once in a while, even better.
Yeah. Quote unquote, just to remind everyone that you're a woman, not so we can stare at you.
There are more incidental boobies in this film.
So much.
I was like, what? I understand she's a model. And listen, Natasha Henstridge, rightfully comfortable with her body because she looks amazing.
Yeah.
But I was like, it's just a free-for-all. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. I understand what's going on.
Yeah.
I think I know who made this movie, and I think I know who this movie is made for. And I'm just going to pack another bowl until we get to some plot.
Right. We've got one of the producers of this film is Frank Mancuso Jr., who was the one who did all the Friday the 13th sequels. Like, I don't even think he was on the first movie, but he definitely did parts 2, 3, 4, blah, blah, blah.
Probably 3 and beyond, because 2 was the outlier kind of thing.
Yeah. So young Sil is on this passenger train. She's she basically has to go into a chrysalis. She has to go into a cocoon. And this is where we start getting into some like real body horror here, right? Because her face, the CGI 90s body horror, where her face starts bubbling and
oh my god,
tentacles come out of her face.
Oh. I was like, whatever moisturizer you're using, it's not appropriate for your skin type.
No, you can't just use some
toner.
Yeah.
Like you can't just use soap. Like you need like maybe a night cream. Or like some toner or something.
Yeah.
So, okay, I have two questions for you, Jeffrey.
Yeah.
The first one's rhetorical. The second one is not. Would it be a 90s horror film if a black character doesn't get killed within the first 20 minutes?
Nope, we die first. Yep.
Like, I was like, well, here we are. Okay, check. We have met the friendly, helpful black lady, and immediately she is dead. Okay. Second question, non-rhetorical. Can you imagine if humans went through a gestation period where you were like a 10-year-old and then you just went into a cocoon and you came out as like an 18-year-old and you just didn't have to fuck with all that middle school, high school years bullshit?
I mean, meeting most of the adults that I've known and met in my life, including myself, like I feel like metaphorically we did kind of do that.
No, I'm not talking metaphors. I'm talking actual, like you went to bed.
Yeah.
And you woke up and you were 22.
Kind of like a big situation where you just wake up and suddenly you're just like an adult man, you know, checking your underwear, being like, damn. Yeah.
You're like, whoa, I'm packing.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, hair. Yeah. Like how different would our society be structured? Literally, there'd be no entertainment industry, I feel. There'd be no popular music. Like all the things that are geared towards 13 to 19-year-olds, which is like most of the entertainment industry out there, and a lot of sports and a lot of pretty much anything to distract you from the horrors going on inside of your own body.
Oh my God.
There'd be no K-pop. K-pop is dead. Sorry.
Or there would be, but it would just all be older looking people doing it because we would still be needing our kind of like adolescent brain period, but we look 25.
It would be Blossom. It'd be the TV show Blossom.
Okay, yep.
That's all. Imagine if all entertainment was just Blossom, variations on the TV show Blossom.
You're speaking utopic here.
I listen. I'll take that. I'll take that pill. We die at the age of 33, but I get to watch like the Blossom universe. Great.
Yeah.
Life well lived.
Yeah, that's all of Bernie Sanders' platform right there you just described.
Bernie Sanders.
Socialist utopia. Everyone watches Blossom. Die at 33.
But it's like the Blossom universe. So it's like Blossom and like, was it Topanga? No, that's a different show. That's Boy Meets World. But like the whole universe is just like in one version of the TV show, they're like superheroes. In another version, they're like cops and lawyers. In another version, they're like Laverne and Shirley, bottling beers in Milwaukee and shit. I support the Blossom universe.
I do too. I love it. So she gets into this cocoon. The ticket taker lady who had been so nice to her, like there's no like clear morality to like there's not like I'm gonna spare the good ones and kill the bad ones. She's not that type of alien. She is fully animalized alien. So as
fucking Alfred Molina likes to remind us, she kills when she gets scared. Or maybe that's Forrest Whitaker.
That's Forrest Whitaker.
Think they literally, each of them say that sentence like 9 times for us to understand that we're actually doing this to her. What? Like we're making her hurt people.
Yeah. Hurt people.
Shut up.
This is a good moment where in
this Zoom screen to make myself feel better.
This is a good death. I mean, like a good, like gross kill here. Like this is kind of real goopy gloppy horror sort of stuff wherein basically the giant cocoon on the wall has like a mouth like Audrey 2 from Little Shop of Horrors and like snatches this woman out of the room and gobbles her up.
But it doesn't. But then like they find the corpse and the corpse is just fine. Oh, yeah, she really just wanted the lady's clothes.
She just probably snapped her neck with her mouth, and then took her clothes and
Sounds like a
things.
first date to me.
Yeah. I do like the moment when the chrysalis opens up and basically births a completely adult nude supermodel covered
You
in
gotta
goo.
have faith. You gotta have faith, baby.
Oh God. So now we have the gathering of the X-Men, of the Avengers, right? Like
Oh wow,
our team of superheroes.
yes. Oh,
okay.
you mean the Scooby-Doo mystery machine?
Yeah. So we start with Michael Madsen, who plays Preston. And Press is basically he's just the guy from Reservoir Dogs. He's just like a tough guy. Like he's feels like mafia hitman sort of guy.
Well, he's like a mercenary assassin for the United States government.
Yes.
Like he was in Nicaragua. He was like you name a hot, like he's quiet assassin for the United States government.
Yeah. Then we have Dr. Steven, played by young Alfred Molina.
Amazing.
I forget, like Alfred Molina just transcends time because he's in Raiders of the Lost Ark also. Like that's from like 1981.
Yeah, and looks pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Like my favorite of his, if you've never seen it, is Prick Up Your Ears, is an amazing film, and he's very young in it, but he's like a force to be reckoned with in that film.
I didn't even know that was a movie. I just know the Orton play.
Yeah.
I didn't know
it's the story of Joe Orton, and it's Alfred Molina plays Jordan's lover, who ends up killing him. And it's about their relationship of like living in this sort of like oppressive / also liberated gay society in London.
Interesting. We also have Dr. Laura, who is another kind of, I don't fully know like the difference between Dr. Steven and Dr. Laura's sciences. They're just both science-y.
Right. And it's like, and they're very different. Like I didn't write down, but it's like Dr. Arden is like a sociologist, I think. Which I was like, okay, Indiana Jones. Yeah. And then Dr. Laura is like a molecular biologist.
Yeah.
And I was like, these are like, y'all buildings aren't even next to each other on campus.
No. And it is set up like this is a super team to be assembled in case the SETI army ever needs to kill an alien that it's capture. Favorite character in this movie,
Jesus Christ,
is Forrest Whitaker as Dan, who is introduced as an empath, and I'm like, I don't think you know what that means, because by the end of the movie he's full on level 1 psychic.
Jeffrey, I swear to God, by the end of this film, I was so like kind of over it. When Forrest Whitaker is just like putting his hands on things like Native American spirit tracker.
Yeah.
And just being like, this train car feels empty. I was like, what the fuck? That's not, are you getting the feelings of the sidewalk in Los Angeles? Because I think it feels like some methadone is what I'm guessing it feels like.
He has the absolute stupidest lines I've ever seen in a movie, because his character is doing stuff like, you're talking about the escaped young girl, Syl. He's like, she was scared. I'm like, no shit, Sherlock. She was in a fucking cage and they tried to gas her. Like, why are you here? What is it you say you do?
What do you bring? What do you bring here? But it's Forrest Whitaker, so literally the man can do no wrong. Like literally he can take and I feel like that was what was this movie's MO, was like, you know, like the credits come on and it's like Oscar winner, Oscar nominee, Oscar winner. And then you get to the actual meat of the film and you're like, why are all of you, and also why must you all be en masse all together?
Yeah. It is, you know, even with Forrest Whitaker here, it is a little bit bringing it back to food. It is a little bit like giving the Chopped chefs a basket that has dog turds in it. Literally cannot cook that.
Yeah.
You cannot cook and eat that. That is impossible to do. That is not food. And that's how I felt about Forrest Whitaker in this role. I'm like, that I don't he
Yeah.
I'm curious to see what he does with this, but
yes, you were given beetroot and cat food and celery
and a brick, just
and a
a
brick,
full-on red brick.
and also some like metal filings.
Yeah. Okay. So Professor X here shows them the full video of them gassing this girl, of her breaking out, of everything that happened. I'm like, that, my friend, is stuff that the US government should be burning because you do not want any of that video into the world. He also says, so basically the backstory of how the alien happened was they got a DNA sequence from an alien message.
Yes.
And they thought, oh, this alien message is benevolent and good. So they injected the DNA sequence into human ova.
Yep.
And then they managed to grow one of these kids with the alien human DNA mix.
Why not? Well, they actually made a couple of them.
Yes. And
most of them didn't take. No,
No.
it's a bit like baking for the first time.
Right.
Like, yeast has like, it's just like, it's a little bit like the spirits have to be right to be like, oh, is it going to turn? Is it going to rise? Is it not going to rise? Most of them didn't rise, but some of they were like, okay, but two of them they put in freezer. Hello, species 2 and 3. But one of them, they're like, those are muffins. Those are going to be the most delicious muffins. Now, this is something that this is my stupid brain. We actually got 2 messages from the aliens. We might have skipped over this because Ben Kingsley's narration is so delightfully brisk. The first message that came back was actually some sort of like science-y mumbo jumbo about clean eternal energy,
clean burning methane or something
that nobody talks about. I was like, wait, the aliens. And he's like, oh, so we assumed it's good because the aliens essentially gave us the recipe to make clean burning methane to power our entire world for the rest of our lives. And I was like, why are we not following that lead?
Right.
Before we get to the DNA splicing. Like, what if we check? Like, listen, I'm not a rules guy all the time, but I feel like if an alien species calls Earth for the first time, maybe do some background work.
Yeah.
Just check that out first. Yeah. Just do a quick Google. Let me Google that for you. And it turns out it works. So they're like, oh, you know what? Gosh, this whole energy crisis. And remember, this is like, we're about ready to get into a good decade and a half of energy, like of who controls the oil of this world. I was like, what? I kind of want to see that movie. Just of like introducing this geopolitical football of like, oh yeah, we don't have to worry about energy ever again.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, we also have these weird alien DNAs. You want to fuck around with that?
It's bonkers. I feel like there's a simultaneous film happening with the Department of Energy dealing with like alien methane gas, like cows.
What did we just watch? It was somebody with the DOE. What film was that?
Oh, that was Shin Godzilla. We watched that last
month. That was it on Patreon. And you were in giggles because it's like, I'm with the DOE. And you're like,
really? Yeah.
You're like, oh, big man. All right. Ooh, watch out. Make a hole.
That's right. Isn't Rick Perry in charge of that for a while? Jesus Christ. Okay, so Sil gets off the train in Los Angeles. I wrote down, who are all these pedestrians in downtown LA? Who,
as someone who was just in downtown LA, who literally had to check luggage into a bodega for 4 hours because I had 4 free hours in downtown Los Angeles, I was one of those pedestrians.
A few years ago, I was in LA. I stayed in LA for about 3 months, and it was really nice. And I was in downtown a lot. And the thing about being in downtown is there are pedestrians, but it's not like, this is a New York City street.
Yes, I know. This is like wall to wall. Yeah, shoulder to shoulder.
And they're not even in downtown LA. They're on like Sunset Boulevard or some shit. Right. Like, there are no pedestrians. There are some, but like, this isn't downtown Chicago. This isn't this isn't Midtown Manhattan.
Yeah.
We're not in fucking London or Tokyo here, right? Like, this is fucking Los Angeles. We're not driving.
But you know what I love, Jeffrey?
Or we're not walking. Yeah, what's that?
Shopping spree.
Hell yeah. Let's buy a bridal dress.
Listen, she just wants to get herself something that makes her feel as good on the outside as she feels on the inside.
That's totally it. And she is staring at every pregnant woman, at every baby she sees, because
She's hungry.
She's not hungry. She's it's that time. I'm feeling it. It's my biological clock is ticking.
Like Marissa Tomei, my clock is ticking. It's going like this. Vinny, hey Vinny, you want to make a baby? You want to make a baby? You want to make a baby?
So she gets back. She finds a motel. Checks into the motel. I love that the guy who runs the motel is the scary sheriff from the beginning of Fire Walk with Me.
I know,
He's
right?
The most David Lynch looking actor,
like the most character actor. You're like, are you a giant? Are you like there's some people that are just drawn bad. Like they I'm sure they're like lovely human beings, but their face has been arranged in a way that makes them look evil.
Yes.
Much like Natasha Henstridge, who has a face that is arranged in a way that looks like perfectly symmetrical and like Kate Moss kind of face.
Yeah.
But this guy is like the evil version of that.
That's right.
He has a lovely warm voice. He has beautiful eyes, but he just looks like a villain.
Yeah. So she checks into this motel and starts watching Skinamax, basically.
She fucking loves TV. She is like, she doesn't talk to anyone. Literally, like, but whenever she gets around to TV, she is into it.
This is the I'm learning humanity thing, right? So she is constantly observing, like she learns how to drive a car by watching the guy who drives her from the club and whatever else. And here she's learning about how sex works.
Yes.
Right. This is how you do a sex as a human. I'm going to have
on Showtime.
This is full on like softcore late night porn on your cable channels. And she goes and asks the hotel guy, who's like, where can I pick up a man? And he's like, well, there's a club right next door, so walk over there.
Just look for the long lines. And she's like,
I love the long line. And the bouncer sees her and he goes, legs, you're in. That's a great line. Fantastic line.
Yes. Oh, she's also changed outfits, by the way, into an amazing pair of faux leather black pants and a like sort of like pinup girl 1950s
very Jane Mansfield
like pink ladies sweater, like puppy, the sweater puppies sweater.
Yeah, she looks great. So the theme throughout this movie plot wise is always going to be, every scene of this movie is going to be her doing something and the SETI army half a step behind her. They always arrive just as she's done a thing.
Can I add an extra step, like a half step? So it's like step 1, Syl does something. Step 1A, she gets away with it because a beautiful woman can do anything.
Yeah.
Step 2, everybody else trying to figure out what the fuck is going on.
Yeah.
This bitch gets away with more fucking shenanigans.
Yeah.
Because she's a supermodel.
Right.
Men, women, doesn't matter. I was like, at one point, I was like, what did you just like, is this how it is for beautiful? I guess it is. Apparently, this is such an LA mentality of like, all you have to be is beautiful and just like things just arrive.
Yeah.
They just happen. She rips a lady's spine out of her body in a bathroom and walks calmly out the door with another dude. No repercussions.
No. I kept thinking of the age-old phrase of, are the straights okay? Because there is a thing up to this movie of like, it's not just you can get away with anything if you're a beautiful woman. You can get away with anything because you're a beautiful woman, because of men. Straight men will allow this. Like straight men when don't we get to question bullshit, any fucking shit.
Well, I mean, when we get to the penultimate scene with Alfred Molina, like that was where my patience had broken.
I love that
with that
everyone in this movie has full-on face blindness, because by the end all she did was cut 2 inches off her hair and dye it dark brown.
You know what, Jeffrey? You know what's
And they're
a great
like,
idea?
I don't recognize her
I don't.
anymore.
I've never seen her.
This
Never seen her.
6 foot tall supermodel lady. No.
You know what's a great idea? While your hair has the dye in it, just start going at it with scissors. It's going to look amazing. I promise you. While it's still wet and dye, like there's literal hair dye in, and she's just like chomp, chomp, snip, snip, snip. You know what? I think it's going to look good. I really do. I think you're going to win this makeover challenge.
Don't try this at home. Please don't try this at home, anyone.
So let's talk about this mating dance inside the club.
Okay. So, well, first off, she's watching another guy and a girl.
Yeah.
So this guy starts by like hitting on her, or hitting on Sil, but then his girlfriend comes back and she's like, baby, I got a party to go to and no one to take me. So he's like, I'll take you.
What a line.
And so when she goes to the bathroom, that's when Sil comes in through the other wall from behind and rips her spine in half.
I was like, huh?
Wait, what room are you in?
Also, are we supposed to be like flying under the radar here?
Yeah, right.
Like, why'd you have to go through the wall? Anyway, but like much of this film, something happens and then something immediately happens that negates that, but it's so weirdly paced that you don't care because you don't even know what you're watching. So even though she kills her competitor, quote, competitor, she goes back out to the other guy and then she goes, nope, you're a dick. And then goes on to another guy.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, did you just kill somebody for legit no reason at all?
Yeah, I think so. I think that was the deal. I think she realized like, this isn't going to work. I got something else.
But like, it's never even explained. Like, why are you not sticking with Bachelor number 1?
Yeah, I didn't understand that either. I didn't understand the point of that guy there other than just learning that using that line as a woman will work easily. And so I think she just skips that dude, goes right on to
the next guy.
I mean, I'm not sure how she has this intelligence to know this, but it's actually a smart move for the killer, because if you go home with that original guy, he's going to be like wondering what happened to his girlfriend.
He's like, my girlfriend got murdered at the club.
Yes.
Maybe it was the supermodel who I'm currently trying to, but it happened so fast. I was like, wait, did I just waste 10 minutes of my life? Maybe I did.
So she finds another guy who's got long hair and a goatee, and he's
you might not know this, Jeffrey.
1995.
It's so 90s. Do you remember International Mail? You probably don't because you're not a homosexual.
No, I don't know this.
International Mail was a mail order catalog for men if you were a homosexual or a gigolo. It's like if you wanted a floofy pirate shirt in many colors, if you wanted like ass hugging like vinyl pink pants, you went to International Mail. And for many of us homosexuals, this was like the next step up from the Hanes underwear models. But this guy is so International Mail. Look it up. It is formative for a 90s homosexual such as myself.
Unbelievable.
But the models all looked like this, bro.
Yeah. I'm looking at the summer of 2000 issue, and the headlines of it say board shorts, breezy gauze, neon swimwear, racy tops.
Ooh, is it the year of sheer?
Maybe. There's a guy with what looks like bright blue linen pants and no shirt holding up a beach umbrella.
Yes, that's exactly. It's like, do you live in Puerto Vallarta and Palm Springs and you don't have a real life? That was the fantasy. But go back to like 1995 or 96. That was its heyday.
Okay.
Was the high 90s of International Mail.
That's who this 100% looking at these covers of International Mail. This is catalog. This is absolutely who this guy is. And he takes her back to his, he's so sleazy. And his fuck pad in the hills, and a gorgeous, gorgeous place.
Beautiful property.
Yeah.
I was like, I was like, I wonder what his job is. Music industry. I feel like music industry.
I gotta think. Yeah,
you know, like he's a producer of some kind.
He doesn't look TV film guy. No. He looks music guy.
No, he's behind the scenes.
Or Yeah, something to that effect. Early tech, bro.
Oh, maybe.
1995. Yeah.
Real estate, maybe.
Real estate. Yeah, something to that effect. So he gets her back. We get full on so much nudity in this film, so much like soft nudity.
Yeah.
We
But
almost
we don't even get, like, as we've seen
there's no
Natasha
full
so
male.
naked.
Yeah.
But we don't see any male butt. There's no, like, we get, like, the male is
There's a brief Michael Madsen butt, and there's a brief this guy butt because he's in the shower.
I guess that's right.
We get what is that shot called where the camera cuts off right at the top of the male's pubic hair? So you see kind of like, you just see the root of the bottom of the trunk, basically.
Yes.
He takes a shower. She's watching him. He's loving that she's watching him. Tells her to take her clothes off, which just means remove your bra.
Oh my God, right? Just that bra gets more action than anybody else. Like on, off, on. I got whiplash, man.
It's funny, for as much nudity, this movie is horny, not sexy.
Yes.
Yeah. Because there's a ton of nudity in it, but it's very like Playboy nudity. Like it's real simple. It doesn't feel
it's
at any point really. It's super vanilla. Well, his advances bother her, and she's like, you know what? I've changed my mind. Can you drive me back? And he's full on.
That's what we're supposed to think.
Right. And he's like, too late, baby. I said you're not leaving. So she's like, okay, let's do it. Starts making out. And I squealed. I laughed so hard at this death because she kills him by jamming her tongue through the back of his throat and out the back of his neck. Sounds
like a great second date to me.
Love it. Yeah. So if we're gonna talk about things I'm into, ladies, if you can
neck
do that,
punctures.
Yep.
You want to like my you know what I love? I love esophagus play. You're like, yeah, just punch me right in the Adam's apple a few times, or maybe even just go right through.
Yeah, please. If you can get all the way through, that
all the way through. If I, it's like you can see like Death Becomes Her, like you can see through my neck.
Yeah,
great.
Perfect.
I'm into that.
So SETI has found this guy's body. They found the body of the woman in the club. They found they're just a step behind.
Okay, no. I'm not letting this one go. So SETI is at the club. They're talking to one of the bouncers, and they're like, "Hey, did you see a guy go home with a blonde lady?" And I was like, what the literal fuck? He's like, it's LA. There's a lot of blonde ladies. And just like, well, Johnny went home with a hot blonde. I was like, really? That's like, out of the 400 people in this fucking club, you're like, you get one name. I was like, are you fucking serious?
That was bonkers.
That's like going to Midtown Manhattan and be like, have you seen a Jewish looking guy walking around here anywhere?
Right.
Like, what?
Yeah. It did remind me of one time. I remember being at a friend's house, and his grandmother was visiting, and I met his grandmother, and she my friend James was like, Jeffrey goes to Texas A&M, and she's like, oh, you do? James, your cousin Chris went there. Do you know Chris? And she asked me, I'm like, that is 45,000 undergraduate students every single year. I know a few Chris's. Maybe we're friends.
Is his name Steve? Do you know Steve? Do you know a Steve?
That's what this is
like.
Name
a woman.
I love Name a Woman. For $1, name a woman. I don't know. There's a this scene too cracked me up because it is the screenwriters trying to find a reason for Dan to be in this movie.
Right.
And Dan is like, I feel that he knows who this man is. And that's when the guy's like, oh yeah, Johnny went home with a hot blonde lady. What are we doing?
Y'all need to go back and watch your Star Trek Next Generation and figure out what an empath is.
Unbelievable. So they then have this, after they find, greasy guy with his throat torn out, after they find him dead, they just have the most asinine ongoing argument about why she would do this. And I'm like, you guys just get on with this fucking movie. Look, we know she's an alien.
Yeah.
Like So
We
it's an
know
argument of
oh my
Steven being
God.
like, well, she's a psychopath, and then X being like, but why would she kill him? And Dan was like, I feel that he tried to rape her and she was angry and fought for her
How do you
life.
feel that?
How do you know this? And then Laura, being the only one who makes any sense, being like, I mean, you made a female alien. She's probably, they sent you the DNA. It's trying to reproduce.
Yeah.
Like she's trying to mate.
Yeah.
Why is she
Duh.
going home with men?
Why else are we at a fuck pad in the Hollywood Hills right now?
Right?
Like, clearly, we're not in like the Valley. Hello.
Yeah. Okay, so
is this where we get the class of like, oh, we decided to make her female so she would be more docile and controllable?
That was earlier, but yeah, that's what Xavier tells Laura as to why they made a female.
Me and my
alien.
friend, we were laughing so hard at that line, we had to stop the fucking movie because we're like just like spitting lemonade out of our mouths because it was so funny.
It's so stupid. So she
to which my friend said, "Did Harvey Weinstein make this film?"
Yeah. So she goes to Santa Monica driving Robbie. Robbie was the skeezy guy that she just
international male model number 7.
Yep. And she takes his Mustang and drives it out to Santa Monica, where it runs out of gas because she didn't know cars run out of gas.
Like, okay, sure. Because it's not on TV. I guess that is true. You never see people gas up or reload in films. So honestly, if it's not on TV, how would she know how to do it?
No, of course. So she gets out and walks. God damn, this is a great scene where she's staring at a skateboarder, just some random 30-year-old, just not even doing cool skate tricks, just rolling down the street.
Yeah.
And a fucking whatever Lincoln Continental just comes out of nowhere at 80 miles an hour, nearly plows over skateboard driver, and then crashes right into her,
and then pushes her into like a bus
stop. That's it.
And everyone is like it's pre-cell phone. Well, it's kind of not pre-cell phone because the car technology,
because he has car phone.
Oh my God, the technology in the 90s was such a fascinating time in which technology was big but also small. It was weird.
Yeah.
But some other international male model number 12, who just looks like a golden Labrador retriever of a human being, is like, hops out of his convertible and is like, I hear a beautiful woman in distress. I must pay for her and carry her places and pay for her insurance. And it's like, what the literal fuck is happening, y'all?
And his actual character name in this movie is John F. Kerry.
Oh, I thought he said John F. Kennedy. And I was like,
no, it's John F. Kerry, which was the presidential candidate's full
John Kerry.
John F. Kerry.
What the fuck?
I know. Bonkers. So Blondie, this dude, picks up Blondie, this lady, gets her to the hospital, pays her bills on his credit card, whatever else, which is how they'll track him later. But, he's clearly courting beautiful lady in a really creepy way. Like, this woman was severely injured in a car accident, so I'm going to pay for her medical care. And then as she's discharged from the hospital, I will bring her back to my place, feed her wine and cheese, and put her in a hot tub.
And make her listen to La Traviata or whatever. I was like, this is so douchebaggery. And he's like, this is my little paradise. Like, it's so secluded back here. I almost like forget that I live in LA. And I was like, dude, you're just like, this is the problem right here, is that you think you give a woman like artisanal cheese and you make her listen to, like Puccini, and literally next step they're in the hot tub, but he's a little bit shocked because he's a nice guy.
Yeah.
he just wants to make out a little bit. He doesn't. And she's like, I want your baby in me.
Yeah. The filmmakers clearly thought of John Kerry in this movie as a good guy.
Yes. Oh, definitely.
They clearly were like, this is model male behavior.
Yes. It's also like so it's like that 80s romantic comedy thing, which is actually, God, that's a monologue from My Best Friend's Wedding, I think. In which they're like, behavior that seems normal in a John Hughes movie would actually get you arrested in real life.
Yep.
But this is like, now the worm has turned all the way fucking around.
Yeah. So yeah, she is jumping his bones in this
Yeah.
hot tub, and he's like, "Whoa, like take it
Oh
easy."
no, I'm so embarrassed.
And she's like, "I
My
want a
bathing
baby."
trunks. It's great she's naked, but he's got to keep his trunks on
That's
because,
right.
good Lord, men are just mortified by their own bodies and the bodies of other men, apparently.
Yep.
And God, I wonder who the producers are for this
Right.
film.
Yeah, we
Just
don't
just
need
at a
to see
guess.
dick. No, we don't
At
need
a
to see
guess.
buttock.
No.
I do love this like shift in the 90s of this like kind of like white female idealized beauty
Mhm.
of the tall, very skinny, big titted model whose ass we never see. And I'm not saying
Yeah.
show Natasha Henstridge's ass, please, but like I just mean to say
But it's
that
so focused.
it's so focused on titties are the
Boobs.
ultimate thing on a skinny, tall, blonde woman as like peak 1995 beauty
Because that's
standards in
because I
white
think like
Hollywood.
this feels to be like Anaconda, very much like a summer blockbuster. We all kind of know it's a big, we all know it's a little bit dog shit,
Yeah.
but it's the only thing playing at the multiplex that both the dude and the girl in the heteronormative relationship that we're making Hollywood films for, it's like, well, it's got like some scary parts, but like, I don't know, there's like some like plot, it's not
Yeah.
completely devoid of anything. But it's ketchup. You're right. There's no there.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not a meal unto itself.
It's the meal of like mustard and Parmesan cheese,
Right. Right. Yeah. We're actually getting to what I think is the most interesting, disturbing, and provocative scene in this movie. And
Yes.
I don't know how intentionally it is any of those things. Probably it's intending to be disturbing or scary, but when he keeps refusing her
Yes.
aggressive advances, she grabs his head and pushes him underwater.
Yeah.
And is kind of like drowning him, pulling him back up, drowning him again. And the agents are all arriving. Now, we've had this kind of recurring dream sequence in her mind
Yes.
of these bad dreams that she has of two aliens like spooning and fucking in real gross alien
And a
fashion.
ghost train with a skull head. Ghost train to Maggot Town. Ghost train to Maggot Town. Maggot Town next stop. Points beyond. Geiger Village. Tentacle Town. And Capital City.
So this scene is fascinating because then, right before the agents find them, what she does is she essentially rapes him.
Yeah.
Because we see his face underwater with tentacles going into his mouth, like tentacles, very rapey sort of imagery. And then also, she is taking him from behind in this scene.
Yes. And she's got like she's got like a big ass tail, because we all know Geiger loves his big tentacle tails that she also is like riding herself.
Yeah.
And like it's all kind of messed up.
This is also to note the alien design is H.R. Giger. It is Giger. I keep saying Geiger.
But I'm not from Europe, so I say things poorly and I say Geiger like a fucking maroon.
But he did the design for the alien and the skull train to Maggot Town.
Yes.
And he so there's very much an H.R. Giger vibe to
and it's gorgeous. Listen, it's woefully underused in this film, I would say.
Agreed.
Jeffrey, I'm gonna ask you a question. Where do babies come from? No, that's not the question. Let's say, hypothetical here. Just go with me on. Just go with me on this. It'll be brief, I promise.
Yeah.
You are a gorgeous alien lady that wants a baby. Okay. Just think about it. And all you want is a baby. You don't want love. You don't want romance. You don't want a rose. You just want a baby.
Yeah.
And you have no problems with killing. You have no problems with maiming or dismembering.
No.
What if you just like took the semen?
Yeah.
Went down to Walgreens and got a turkey baster.
Yeah.
Did it. Like ejaculation is part of the love-making process and the baby-making process, just because we don't really often kill each other after sex or during sex. But really, all you need is just some ball sack. Like, you just need some ball juice.
I mean,
Why
I
not
would
buy
think
wholesale? Why
if
not buy wholesale is what I'm saying.
I would say if you are learning your human sexuality from Skinamax,
Oh, that's true.
it, my thinking is all I need to do is get a man in his home. There's probably very little examples in Skinamax of there's probably some, but I would of women like ravishing
Yeah.
men. I think what you'll learn from a lot of male driven porn is take off your clothes, lie
Yes.
back, make a come hither look, bite your lip.
Yeah.
He will climb on top, do his thing, and then go to sleep.
Yeah.
And so I think that I would have thought that that's what she would have learned, as in like, and that doesn't make for a good film
No, it
because you
doesn't.
want her to be the aggressor. She's got to do all of this. But yeah, if you're asking what my thought was, if I'm learning sexuality from Skinamax, which I did, but yeah,
did.
but if I'm learning sexuality from Skinamax, I'm like, oh, this is how this works. Lady
Okay.
makes come hither look, shows me her titties, opens
Yeah.
legs, lies down.
Next step, baby.
I do the thing that I need
Yeah.
to do.
But I was like, you have a if you're gonna dismember it, just take it like a to-go bag, like a doggy bag.
Mhm.
Just cut it off. Just cut off the whole the bait and tackle, and then just take it to go, and then and then just do it yourself at home, like a DIY kit.
That's a lot of work, though, man. I'm
it?
the type of person who likes to pay for oil changes. I know
Oh,
how to
yeah.
I know how
Like,
to
I
change my
can't
oil,
listen.
but
Sometimes, like,
that's a lot of work.
like when I go out to eat in restaurants, I often think like, can I make this food for half price? And if so, then it's not. This restaurant isn't worth it.
Yeah.
But sometimes
Well,
I can't make a dosa. I can't like.
no,
There's tons of like shit that I'm like, yeah, I will pay $25 for this meal because I can't make that
I could
at
make
home.
a dosa if I went and got all the equipment to do it and then
Right?
spent months and months kind of
Just
making a
yeah,
lot of them and fucking them up.
yeah.
So yeah, I think the easiest route is
Really, just the old-fashioned way.
just the old-fashioned way. But she's got I just found this interesting that this is going back to this I mean, we use sexual assault so much in film.
Oh my God.
And then
Yeah.
here you have this reversal of it. And it gets back to
Sure.
that quote of homophobia speaking to men.
Yeah.
Homophobia is the fear that men will treat you the way you treat women.
Yeah.
And
This is also the era of what is it? The Demi Moore film. It's not Double Indemnity. That's the old ass film.
the stripper,
no, not
no.
Striptease, where Demi Moore plays the boss who like essentially tells like, you know, some other, you know, like Robert Redford, sleep with me or I'm firing you.
Indecent Proposal.
Indecent Proposal. No, it's Indecent Proposal is like, you're gonna sleep with my wife, but it's there's a lot of that sort of, we're fucking like, that was the 90s, was all about this like kind of horny power play.
Yeah,
film.
Definitely. Okay, so she doesn't manage to sleep with him. She manages to rape him and leave him there. And I was confused. The reason I thought this was so provocative, and I'm not saying good, I just mean
it pushed some buttons.
It pushed some buttons because I don't know if this is just them being provocative for the sake of being provocative or if it's saying something. I think the first is probably the former is probably the reason, but I was thinking about like, is she using sexual assault like men use it in a form of power? Like, you didn't do what I want, I will demonstrate how I am more powerful than you. Or is this her playing the part of the character who doesn't understand sex yet? Like, she has alien visions in her head of like what sex looks like, and she doesn't know if she's supposed to be the front or the back of this.
She's been given a schematic to the IKEA couch, but doesn't know what it's supposed to look like on the back end, kind of thing. Yeah,
it's a fucking mess.
Interesting.
Scene, but I found it
well, and the added thing of the people, the Mystery Machine gang knocking at the door, and again it's with this like, she's perfectly benign to nice people all the time, but the second this clown car rolls up and pressures her, that's when she starts killing. So which is such a well-worn road of like, she's like an animal, she's dangerous when caged. And I was like, are we really just comparing women to animals again? We're going with this one again.
She kills when she's angry, when she's scared, or when she needs something. Yeah.
Which
so
is like
it's clear she kills the hotel maid in a couple scenes here to get her keys because she realizes needs keys. I don't know.
For her master plan.
Well, let's jump to the hotel scene. There's some moments where SETI arrives and whatever.
Oh my god, these SETI scenes, they drag on.
Yes. Okay, so she drives her new car from this dude and tails the SETI people to their hotel. So now she knows where they're staying. Now, okay, hold on. I'm skipping a thing. Let's get back to the hotel thing in a second, because there's this whole scene wherein she runs naked to, actually, it's not John Kerry's car. It's this woman getting out of a supermarket. She jumps in the car naked. And it's like, please help me. And this woman, a fellow woman, being like, I see a woman in distress.
Yeah.
What
do you need?
What do you need? Well, what I need is a hostage.
She needs a fucking body double.
She needs a body double and a hostage. So her plan here is take this woman hostage. There's a scene where she cuts her own thumb off as a demonstration to the hostage with gardening shears.
Okay.
Horrifying, but not... Actually, it's funny because they do a close-up and it's CGI. It's like a plastic hand that it cuts through, and then CGI shows it grow back, the thumb. But it's a close-up on just a hand cutting off the thumb, which was less disturbing to me than what follows is she then leans into her tied-up hostage lady and puts the shears to her thumb. We don't actually see it get cut off. It cuts away. But, like, I cringed more at that than the first one.
Yeah.
So her plan is, I'm going to tie this lady up, put her in the passenger seat of this Mustang or whatever, fill up a bunch of portable tanks of gas, plastic bins of 5-gallon tubs of gas, put them in the car.
Yeah.
I'm going to get in a wild, high-speed chase that's fully visible to the SETI people.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to run this car down the Hollywood Hills into an electrical transformer, and it will blow up in a giant fireball, and they'll assume I'm dead. And the proof will be that here's my thumb.
I love this plan. I don't see anything that could go wrong with this plan. From step 1 to step 1A on beyond, I'm into all of it, except, like, I don't know if you've ever actually seen a fiery car crash, but the idea of finding a thumb in all of that in like 10 minutes, I was like, where the fuck did they find? And it's like, oh, we found it in the car door. I was like, what? Because, steering wheels are made of knives these days that just slice right through your thumb. But it's good that she put it in like the cup holder so they could, or like maybe in the like sunglasses thing under, like just like really. And this
also,
is where
the autopsy, autopsy report is going to show up with the body that they found has been tied up, and it was in the passenger seat.
It's a human lady, not an alien lady. Like, okay, yes, we found this thumb, but also we found like a charred skull, because bone does not burn. Here's the thing, like bone don't burn unless you like burn it a lot. So you're probably going to find way more human DNA than you are going to find a thumb. Just saying.
Yeah.
But SETI has some procedural issues.
Yeah, because they actually they're like, that night, Professor X is like,
they're done.
Job all done.
Well, my favorite,
off those hands.
The most 90s thing is when she does all of these things. Spoiler, she does all this successfully because, she's kind of badass. And as soon as she runs this car into this transformer, it explodes. And then SETI has got fucking helicopters, and they immediately missile.
They bomb it with missiles
immediately. And I was like, huh? Okay, one, if I lived in Topanga Canyon, I would be very mad because this is loud. Like, but they have no problems with this. But here's the thing, like the next 30 minutes of this film is like watching Wedding Crashers.
Yeah.
Because it's just like everybody in the Scooby-Doo Mystery Machine hanging out at the hotel lobby, picking up
for half
chicks
a fucking hour. Yeah.
For at least. And Alfred, oh, by the way, did we not mention that Preston and Dr. Laura have been developing feelings for each other ever since they almost died because of Xavier's very strange procedural fire burning process, which I don't even want to talk about that scene because it's so dumb. It literally makes no sense. But it makes no sense. But the next 20 to 30 minutes is just like watching Alfred Molina hit on extras from Central Casting.
100%.
That's it. And then Forrest Whitaker making a joke about not being a drinker and being peer pressured into drinking Long Island iced teas at a bar.
Yeah, they make that real funny of like, I don't drink. Oh, you will now. And then he loads him up on 2 full pint glasses of Long Island iced tea, which if you don't know is...
I was like, this behavior is reprehensible.
That is all alcohol.
There's like nothing but alcohol.
There's 5 different alcohols.
Is there tea in this? No, there's not. I was like, are you all...
what are we doing?
Is there HR? Can I call HR for SETI?
Yeah.
Because we should talk about some of this. This is not appropriate off work, but still on work behavior.
So Michael Madsen, so Press and Laura, it's just a prolonged scene that they could have just gotten to, hey, now that the job's over, now's our chance to fuck. Right? And now that it's not a work thing, but they have, we're not even gonna get into this, but like 15 minutes of just back and forth about whatever, and then they break up and then get back together, and they're not even.
And he's
dating.
Like, "Do you know what I do for a living? It doesn't bother me. It bothers most women." I was like, "Y'all just
go fuck.
Just go fuck."
So they do.
Oh my gosh! And what they do, and we know that Syl she's gone brunette. Because you know what the best idea is to cut your hair when the dye is still in it. It's going to look amazing.
Yeah,
I promise you.
And prove her hair looks amazing here.
Oh my God. It is so stunning the way she looks. I dare you. And I think you should post a before and after pic on Random Horror 9. Dye your hair and try cutting it with the dye still in. And let's see what happens. That's a dare. I dare you.
I mean, just cutting your own hair. Oh, it's an amazing idea.
Well, I mean, I cut my hair, but I'm also like that ship sailed in 1997. Actually, this film might have inspired me to go bald. So I don't know. But here's the thing. So she's listening outside the door to Preston and Dr. Laura making sex noises. And we know that she has a penchant for punching through things and killing people, but she doesn't. I think we all expect this, but she's just getting really horny. Who does she see? Dr. Stephen Alfred Molina.
Yep.
This is where me and my friend watching this film were just like, only a man could have produced and made this film.
Yeah.
Because she is inside his hotel room, listening to the sex through the walls, which, listen, if you say that you don't listen to sex in hotel rooms through walls, then you're a liar, because everyone fucking does.
Totally.
And she's like, "What are you doing here?" She's like, "I saw you at the bar and I just wanted to have you." And he's like, "This only happens in movies, but when in LA, woo." He's like some sheltered, like, sciencey nerd. Jeffrey, not 45 minutes ago, you were chasing a sex-crazed blonde alien lady
who's 6 foot tall, gorgeous, huge boobs.
And a 6 foot tall, gorgeous brunette lady just materializes in your hotel room and you put your dick in it without another word said. Do you have selective amnesia?
It's bonkers how stupid this is.
Like, I think it's one of those things where it's like, this is what happens when, like, a monolithic society is like, we make the rules, but we also like to comment on the rules that we make to, like, you know, show that we're like the good guys.
Yeah.
That we're like, oh yeah, men are so dumb. Men will put their dicks in anything. And that's the reaction we're supposed to have. So that way, like, everybody, but it's just so ludicrous.
It's absolutely
that he completely forgot the first hour and a half of this film and why we were all here in the first place. And then he's just like, happy as a J-lark, just like, yeah, just ripping off his belt like it's fucking Animal House and shit.
Yeah. This is
So dumb.
very like, this is very Porky's kind of Porky's Wedding Crashers. Like this
Yeah.
whole ending sequence minus the firefight that's about to ensue.
Yeah.
Up to the point where they finish fucking and then she grows a caudal spine.
Oops.
Oops.
Oops a doodle.
This is like real silly comedy bullshit.
Yeah.
So Dan, meanwhile,
yes, of course,
is
Dan's
back
like,
in his hotel room.
he's like reading poetry and shit in bed.
And this commercial comes on for like
hair
dye that we saw earlier that Syl had seen in the motel room. And so he has again, what is your superpower, dude? Like that just a non-empath could have put this together. Like a standard PI could have been like, what hair dye? Wait a minute. That brunette, that tall, sex-crazed brunette lady walking around.
That looked a lot like that tall, sex-crazed blonde lady. This is like some 1930s film noir shit in which like Lana Turner like dyes her hair and comes back as another person to collect the insurance check kind of shit.
Yeah. So she's on the run because by the time they figure it out,
well, she's got a baby now.
She's got a baby.
Like, oh my God. I love it.
The moment he comes, she's like, I feel it in my belly. And he's laughing it off. And then he touches her belly. And like that baby, that embryo is growing. Yeah.
I love that. I'm going to start saying that after sex. Like after I have very gay homosexual sex, I'll be like, do you feel my babies inside you? And just see what my boyfriend does. Let's just see what he does. I think he'll be cool with it.
So they go on this chase through the parking garage of the hotel. Correct. And then down into the sewer of the parking garage.
Yes.
They also have the giant flame-throwing guns from Aliens.
Oh my God. Which I'm also like, no, go on. Let's just finish. Let's finish it. Just keep going because I'm tired.
So now Professor X is like, Dan, which way did she go? And he's like, and he's like, fucking answer. I'm like, yes, Dan, fucking answer. What do you do here?
Yeah, what do you do, Dan?
Well, X doesn't believe anything Dan says because Dan is feeling so much empathery that he knows there's a baby that he must save and protect.
He's actually kind of on her side a little.
Yeah, Professor X goes a totally different way, gets his ass killed.
Yep.
And then we've got Press and Laura just fucking around doing nothing. Laura like falls into a 6 foot wide, 2 foot deep hole and can't get out.
She falls in like the La Brea tar pits or something.
What is this below where are we? I don't understand.
They're like, look, it's a fissure in the earth where an earthquake must have opened. Let's explore. Oh my God, there's a 2 foot wide wading pool of oil. What could possibly go wrong?
Unbelievable. Well,
I was like, how are you all breathing right now? That was like, and did they set it on fire? Because of course, if it's oil, it must be set on fire. Yeah. But I was like, what is the air quality like inside this fissure underneath like Hollywood Boulevard?
Yeah. Well, she gives birth to this baby who immediately becomes a toddler who immediately eats a rat with his zip zap tongue.
Like Peter Pettigrew.
Then
I love this scene. This is I think I've never seen this entire film, but that 3-second clip of like a toddler covered in goop, like reaching out to a rat and then just eating the rat with his tongue. I was like, that I've seen on every clip show. Like it's consistently on the like best stupidest horror movie moments. Don't watch this movie, please, unless you're a masochist. But for 3 seconds, it actually does achieve a little bit of sublime. Stupid sublimity.
Well, Dan is seeing this beautiful baby toddler boy and it's like,
hey little guy,
hey, no one's gonna hurt you, come here. And the kid like tongue lashes him,
pushes him off a cliff.
And Laura's falling down the hole. Dan flame broils the fucking baby alien,
which is now completely CGI. The baby's kind of wonky. The growth rates are very off.
They're inconsistent because little Michelle Williams at the beginning is like 12 years old, and
but like
I
3 days old or 4 days old. I was like, also, wouldn't Syl be like 60 by now?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess they age through plateaus. Like she probably goes into
it's
another
like a snake.
chrysalis. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's like a snake thing where it's just like, I don't know, you just sort of get bigger until you stop.
Yeah.
You know?
So he we
Baby
kill
dead.
the fucking baby, and now here comes mommy, because
Yeah.
mommy is made.
And she's pretty, and this is where like the HR Gore design is pretty fucking dope, because now we can see her in action, and it's partially CGI but partially a suit. Yeah. And it's one of those things where like you understand why they cast a supermodel, not just because of the boobs, but because she makes this fucking shit look like Fashion Week,
because she's so long.
City Fashion Week.
Yeah.
Well, it's like you can kind of see the costuming for a brief moment, and I was like, please more, please less CGI tentacles coming out of your face, and more like interesting thing, like a human being who's probably in a union, probably made by hand and had to like make this. Like more of that, I think.
Yeah.
Just my opinion.
Well, Dan is hanging on by a thread over this giant, horrible pit.
Like literally like one little pity, two little pitties. Went out of pitties.
And then there's this kind of false death of mommy because she gets flame broiled, but hand comes out of the fire and grabs him, starts to pull Dan down. This is when Press says, Dan, duck your head, puts a grenade launcher to alien mommy's face and says, let go, you motherfucker. Head splatter. Game over. We won. Let's all leave. Let's just
leave completely. No cleanup.
No, we'll just call the hotel staff. Just check with the front desk at the Marriott.
Can you imagine? You're like, I'm staying at the Best Western on La Cienega, and I don't know if you all know, but your parking garage is opened up a portal to a tar pit. And the fumes are just really messing with my head. So do I need to move, or can I get a voucher maybe?
Yeah.
Now, we did miss one important point, which is Preston, while he's fighting, I love the 90s because you could just fight a bad guy with a knife.
Yeah.
But this knife is important because she has areola tentacles, which is the new name of my punk rock band. And her areola tentacles try to strangle him, and he cuts through one, and it sort of slithers away, and we're supposed to forget about it in the melee. But after we kill Syl, sure enough, there's a stinger at the end. Yeah. And that little tentacle is being nibbled on by rats, and one of the rats does the tentacle thing to another rat.
Yep. Credits. We did it. God damn it. Shall we rate this movie?
Shall we?
Let's do it. All right. So let's start with our Sasha scale, the squeamish approachability scale for the horror averse, with 1 being the least approachable. I always use like something like Funny Games as an example of this, and 10 being super approachable, the cartoon over the garden wall, perfect 10, very approachable. I would give Species like 3 hair dye commercials out of 10. It's pretty gory. It's real rapey in that one scene. It has some pretty standard horror movie jump scares. I will say it is slightly more like gory action sci-fi thriller than like
definitely
full-on horror, but it is a horror movie.
Sci-fi thriller for sure.
Sci-fi thriller. Yeah. I mean, this kind of feels right up there with something like Event Horizon. It's
God. Well, Event Horizon is like scary.
But this one is
it's almost more like a Godzilla movie. Who
knows?
I mean, but
it's
an
a
X-Men.
level of
it's action.
It's definitely a level above like Anaconda though, and it's
for sure.
I think.
Yeah.
Also, there's that whole thumb clipping scene, which is like it's always going to get you no matter how well they do that scene.
There's also a few big jump scares. Like there's one in the parking lot where Forrest Whitaker, like a homeless person, jumps out of a thing just to scare us.
Yeah,
and then she's right behind him.
There's the false scare.
Oh my God, Jeffrey, we did not talk about the squirrel. Squirrels don't do that.
No, they do not.
They don't just jump on people's shoulder.
No.
This movie's so dumb. Finish it. Finish him.
Finish him. So I would say, and also it's really fucking corny 90s. So if violence and all of that shit doesn't bother you and you just like corny whatever, you'll probably be fine. But I'm not going to recommend that you run out and watch this movie unless you want to see H.R. Giger aliens with tits on them. So as a horror film, Cecil, what do you say?
Skull Train to Maggotown. Skull Train to Maggotown.
Putting that on a t-shirt list.
Following the Hudson River line, Skull Train to Maggotown. Yeah, this one's pretty bad, y'all. And you know what makes it bad is that it has so many good actors in it, and it is so long, and it's so dull throughout much of it. And if anything, there's nothing worse than a dull horror film. There's nothing worse than any kind of dull art, but this is just boring in places. Because it's literally just Alfred Molina talking to extras from Central Casting, trying to make funny pickup lines. So because of that, it's like 3. Like, it's pretty down there. 3 attacking ground squirrels.
Well, let's figure out what movie we will watch next. There's very few places to go but up here. So you have a scare die. I have a style die. We'll roll those up and see what movie matches those two things. So, Cecil, if you roll a 1, our next scare is normal people. If you roll a 2, it is vampire. If you roll a 3, our scare is a lady killer. 4, creepy kids. 5, a cryptid. Or 6, wild card. Whatever scare we want. So what's our scare, Cecil?
That's a 5.
We're going to do a cryptid. All right, I'm going to match up your cryptid with a style of film. If I roll a 1, our cryptid scare has to be an anthology horror. 2, an action fantasy movie. 3, an animated or musical film. 4, something with a good day scare. 5, New York, something set in New York City. Or 6, a Japanese horror film. So let's see what we got here. I got a 1. Anthology horror with a cryptid.
Ooh, we got some good choices here.
Yeah, we do have some good ones. So let's start with our list, and then we'll look at what our folks on Letterboxd have suggested for this possible matchup. So I put on here Fears of the Dark. I think this is a 2007 French animated horror anthology. I don't remember the specific cryptids here, but there are like giant bug or monster type of things that happen in
it's a big bug. It's a big bug.
Yeah.
It's very like Franz Kafka-esque.
Yeah. VHS.
Yep.
I'm trying to
remember. I think the original VHS is another anthology. I think this one it's like almost like a siren, if I remember.
You're right.
Kind of thing.
Yep.
In one of the stories.
Trick
and
or
this is
treat.
A great wait, what?
Oh, I was going to say trick or no, finish what you were saying actually.
Oh, no, it's just and VHS is a great anthology except for that one. Don't watch that one, but watch the others.
Okay, great.
I won't tell you which
the
one.
Oh,
I won't tell you.
Trick or treat is a Halloween.
Is there a cryptid in this one?
There's a werewolf. I remember there is a werewolf in this movie.
Cool.
And then Kwaidan, which is cryptid as far as yokai are cryptids, I believe.
Yeah.
So
the sort of fox spirit kind of lady, fox lady sort of thing.
It's a little different
Cat lady or one of those.
Yeah, it's a little different with like more like Japanese lore of like full cryptid, but I think it matches.
Yeah,
I think yokai count as cryptid.
Yeah.
Let's see
what we had.
That's what we had on here. Let's see what our Letterboxd folks have to say about cryptids meet anthology. Okay.
Quite a bit.
Brave Crab. Oh, of course. The Twilight Zone 1983 Gremlin.
The thing on the wing.
Fucking Gremlin thing.
Thing on the wing.
Henrik Erlandson says The Call of Cthulhu.
Yep.
Okay. Fits. King and Commoner says The Field Guide to Evil. I don't know this movie.
I don't know this at all. It's probably another anthology, which is kind of cool.
Ghost Stories from Diamond Dogs.
I looked up Ghost Stories. Ghost Stories looks really interesting, and it's sort of a skeptic talking to 3 different people. 3 inexplicable cases, and according to Diamond Dogs, the second story has a cryptid, and the third one has a little bit of cryptid. Thank you. I love someone that can. Thank you, Diamond Dogs, for writing a description that is succinct to the dice roll, but also no spoilers. I love that because I've not seen this one, and I'm looking forward to watching it.
Suspicious Beans throws out Creep Show.
Yes.
And Josh Ludd says, yes, Creep Show, but also Creep Show 2 is
I
a
don't
franchise.
think I've seen Creep Show 2.
Josh references the raft in Creep Show 2, which is the thing is more blobby.
Okay.
More amoeba-like.
Hey, listen, jellyfish or fish 2? No, they're not. I don't know.
Sure. Volatile Spider throws out Martin. It says Martin Mystery. I don't know if that's
Maybe
Martian. I don't know.
Mystery?
I've never heard of this, but it is Weird Bug Creatures is the children adventure horror series.
Oh, okay.
Ganymede's Cup Holidays 2016.
Yes. That's a pretty good. I've seen it. It didn't make much of a lasting impression on me, but I remember going, that was a film.
It does sound fun with horror movie portrayal
Yes.
of Easter Bunny.
Yeah, and like Thanksgiving and Halloween and Christmas. Yeah.
Sarah Loves Horror says Cat's Eye, the troll thingy.
I've not seen Cat's Eye since it came out. But like classic Stephen King. Classic Stephen King.
It wasn't Cat's Eye. What did we watch for this show that was Buster Poindexter and a cat that goes down his throat? What is that movie?
Tales from the Crypt? No, it wasn't. It's another anthology, but yeah, it was Buster Poindexter with a cat, but that was written by Stephen King.
Yes.
That section. This Cat's Eye, I think, is all Stephen King short stories that were turned into anthology, like 3 or 4.
Okay.
So yeah.
God, it's killing me. I cannot. I'm not gonna be able to think of it. Okay. And then we have Bleak Cinema says Mexico Barbaro.
Yeah.
8 different anthology segments, each based in Mexican legends from trolls to ghosts. That's really fun. That's really interesting.
Okay. Well, trolls. I think trolls count as a cryptid.
Yeah, and I'm guessing would we get to La Llorona maybe in there as well? Yeah. Who knows? So what's standing out to you, Cecil, of all the things that we've chosen or had thrown our way?
Fears of the Dark, Big Bug. That one's pretty good. I've not seen that in a long time. VHS. Here's the thing, man. Like, we have skirted around VHS, and to me, this is some of the best, most best top, like horror anthologies series made in the last 20 plus years or so. They're all really fun. It's all found footage. They're really good. Trick or Treat. Also, I know you love Trick or Treat, and I've not watched it in quite I think since it came out. So yeah. I've not seen that one, and I love to be re-surprised by a film.
Yeah.
Qui-Gon, I think, is a great film, and it's a great anthology. Cryptid, yeah, I think we could maybe do a little bit more, a little better. I'm definitely down with Twilight Zone, The Thing on the Wing. That's classic, and that's a cursed film. That is one of those films that yeah, so that's kind of interesting and diving into the history of the actual film itself. Yeah. Creep Show is good. Creep Show 2 I've not seen, and I think that's it.
Okay, so I think the big tent pole here is VHS. I think that's, not to use that word again, but I think that's the real, Qui-Gon is a classic, watch. But VHS I think fits that kind of modern horror.
It's scary, it's actual scary. And we watch so much different kinds of films on the show. Some of them are funny, some of them are campy, some of them are unintentionally campy, some of them are scary, some of them are just tense. But I think VHS really does a great job of making good, independent, scary horror films.
Yeah. I'm excited to get to that. Well, let's do it. Thank you for listening. Thank you, Cecil, for talking with me. And if you have thoughts on Species or ideas for other movies that would have been good cryptid meets anthology horror, let us know on Instagram or on Twitter at randomhorror9, and watch VHS, the first one from 2012, with us this week, and come on back next Tuesday for a new episode. Have a restful night with no lizard children sharing your train car or nothing. Boo.
Boo.